Well, good morning, everybody. It's 8 o'clock, so we'll get started. This whole session will probably take about an hour because we'll have some Q&A at the end. And when we get to Q&A, you can choose to stay, or if you need to go, we totally understand since it's early. Right now, you should see that there's some prompts on this screen that I'm sharing with the group. And so that's why there's some notes going into the chat, the public chat right now. My name is Megan Doherty. I'm the instructional coach for social studies in the McNeil Learning Community. So I primarily work at Deer Park Middle School and McNeil High School. And Jennifer, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Smith, the Social Studies Curriculum Coordinator. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your time.
And so I gave a cue that when you come into the room, into the conference, you can go ahead and come in on audio. And that way you don't even have to worry about like muting yourself when you come in. And so that's a good tip for students. You know, they might have noises going on in the background. It's a good idea when they come into the room to have audio on only. And if you are having trouble seeing the screen, the presentation, I have the little screenshot down there. You can see that there's one of those 4 arrows. It will make your screen fill the whole screen. Right now, I have shared video, so you should be able to see each other if you have your videos enabled. You enable your video on the bottom right. There's a little box with a slash through it. That's the computer monitor button, and that would enable your video so we can see you. Let's see, I think that's the basics there. So go ahead and try private chatting. Right now I've enabled private chat, so you'd be able to talk to somebody else. So if there's somebody that shares a similar favorite food as you, go ahead and introduce yourself to them and, you know, chit chat a little bit about why that's your favorite. And so you can private chat people by clicking directly on their name. And you'll see right now that you'll be able to start a private chat. So the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the control features in here and how you as a teacher you have like a lot of discretion here in how kids are interacting with one another. So when students are first coming in, as I said, it's a good idea to have them come in with their mics muted and so audio only. Sometimes what I've noticed is that some people, if they've come in and they can't hear anything, it's because they didn't connect to audio at all. And if you don't connect to audio, you can't hear either. And so that would be the screenshot that's on the far left side there. They would just see slashes through everything. It would be all white icons. And you can tell if a student is not in audio by looking at their name, the icon with their name. And you can see that the icons here in the screenshot, like some of them are green and some of them are red. So the green ones are unmuted, the red ones are muted. But if there's just a white circle, that usually means that there's no audio. So that's something to keep in mind. So if the kid is saying, I can't hear, it's like, look and see what the circle is. If it's white, tell them turn on your audio. And so for most of the session here today, you'll be listening and participating more through chat and some of the other tools in here. But if you do ever want to unmute yourself, you can just click on your name. You can click on the bottom and unmute the icons. All right, and another good teacher tip, so this is just for you guys to know how I'm setting this up today. I have uploaded a presentation, so you can see the screenshots that I've taken here. There's a plus sign in the bottom left of my screen because I'm the moderator. You do not have that plus sign because you're participants. But I will actually be swapping out the presenter mode a couple of times in the session today. So you will have an opportunity to be a presenter. So you can see how that works. But I've uploaded this as a presentation, which means that I created this initially in Google Slideshow. Then I downloaded it as a PDF, and then I've uploaded it in here. So that means that anything that I had in my slideshow that was a hyperlink that was active, it deactivates because it's a PDF, it's a dead document. So I'll show you as we go through. I'm going to show you several videos along the way, but what I'm going to be doing is actually posting those videos, share an external video, which again, you see down there in the icon or in the screenshot. That means that I'm taking a URL from YouTube and pasting it in, and it's a much better way of showing videos with students in this context. I do not recommend just doing a screen share with a slideshow and then showing a YouTube video that's embedded in the slideshow. It just slows things down. It gets very choppy. So you'll see as we go through, when I share external videos, it's very clear, and I still have control as a teacher of when I'm stopping and when I'm starting the video. So that's pretty cool. And then, you know, the screen share is an option if you do want to keep a slideshow and you want to be able to click on hyperlinks or whatever. And that's on the far right there in the second screenshot. Okay, so this is our general agenda today. We're going to go over classroom management environment, formative assessment and engagement, and student interaction in the breakout rooms. So one important piece of classroom management online is establishing roles. Today, Jennifer is kind of taking on all these roles for me. So I'm making her, she's currently a moderator as my co-teacher. And so that means she has a lot of power. She can kick people out. If you're messing around, she'll kick you out or whatever. Not really. And she can mute people if she hears people are talking in the background and it's disrupting the conference. But the main reason I also gave her that is because she's going to keep track of shared notes. So if there's questions that you're posing that we can type out answers to, we're going to retain that in shared notes and then download it at the end of the session so that we can share it out with all of you. So that will be in shared notes. And then she's also going to help me if because I would be totally the person to, and I've done this many times, you know, I put my mic on mute and then I start talking again and nobody can hear me. She's my designated student who's going to tell me, hey, Ms. Doherty, we can't hear you. Unmute your mic, because otherwise kids are just going to sit there for 5 minutes and not understand anything I say. So it's a good idea to figure out which of your students would be responsible for helping keep you on track and help you, you know, maybe keep notes or other things that would be helpful, you know, as you're leading a presentation online. All right. We're going to share the slideshow with you after the session, but this is a full description of the 3 different levels of access that people have within Big Blue Button conferences. Okay, so now let's go ahead and share your mood. So you can see I've got the screenshot there. You're going to click on your own name and you'll set status. And so go ahead and decide, how are you feeling today? You'll notice as you set the status that the icon next to your name changes. So you might see a happy face. I see some thumbs up. That's awesome. Lots of happy faces, a few, which I can understand. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, although it is a Friday. So we're almost there, people. Yay. Great. I'm glad to see some thumbs up there. And this is also a nice tool. Like if I see that some students put a sad face or a thumbs down, I can private chat them and say, hey, you know, John, I see that you got a sad face. I hope everything's okay. You know, if you want to hang around after the conference, let me know. We can chat. So it's a good way, you know, it's so hard for us to connect with kids virtually, but this is one way we can do that. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about locks, and I'm going to actually change my lock settings. So when y'all came in today, I unlocked private chat and I had unlocked see other viewers' webcams. I'm going to lock the private chat now. And I'm going to lock see other viewers' webcams for right now. So I'll still be able to see you, but you won't be able to see each other. And you should not be able to private chat each other now either. So the private chat is definitely a bit more of a controversial feature for us, because whatever happens in private chat as a teacher, you cannot see it. So if you are concerned about student relationships or student bullying, inappropriate comments going on behind the scenes, the private chat, you can't moderate it, you can't see it. So it might be a good idea to always keep that one locked, unless you really trust what the students are doing. And so there, you can see that you can really customize it. So this screen that I'm showing you right now, this is for the whole class, right? Like everybody has the same locks, but I can individually go and unlock specific students if I want to give them additional privileges and release them from these locks. So there's that level of customization. You can individually open up students to be able to do different things, or you can, as a whole class, decide what you're comfortable with them being able to do. All right, and so along the way, as I'm showing you this, I'm going to share some videos that we have that show the behind the scenes teacher view of like each of these steps, because I know you can't see like what I just did on your screens. So I'm going to go ahead and share an external video, and we're going to take a second to watch this.
You are now muted. So I locked my viewers. You're all locked right now. But you can see each other's webcams because I've enabled share webcam. And so the only things that you're locked out of right now are sending private chat messages. And I'm actually going to allow private chat messages now because we're going to engage in this first like get to know you activity. All right, so now you should be able to private chat. So now let's say that y'all have just run them up with your private chats. And so I'm going to change the lock settings to no private chat messages, and you can't see other viewers in the users list. You are now unmuted.
Okay. So like I said, we're going to share this slideshow with you after the session, so you can also review some of the videos for yourself if you've forgotten, like, okay, how did I do that again? We are now going to talk about some common management problems that might occur in the virtual classroom. And one is that students might feel intimidated to share, right? Because if they're in a group of like 30 kids that they don't really know very well, and Vicki is asking the question if it's under settings for the locks, it's under the cog. There's a cog wheel that's at the top of the users list. And for me, it says manage users. I can't remember what it says when you're a viewer. But that's how you get to the lock settings. So for students not responding, one of the things that we can do to minimize the fear of responding is have students set it up so that students are not sharing like one by one, but sharing sort of en masse, right? So this is a little activity. I think they call it a waterfall. I actually learned this from some other teachers last week, and I thought, oh, this is a great idea. So, and of course, we want to keep building the community throughout the year because it's very hard for us to get to know one another online. And so it's really great to embed strategies like these, like every class, right? Spend 10 minutes every class giving kids an opportunity to engage with each other and learn more about each other. So right now you're just going to type into the chat, into public chat, one word you would use to describe your personality, but do not hit enter until I give the signal. So just one word to describe your personality, and then wait until I give you the signal. Do not hit enter. And hit enter now. All right. So you see that there's a lot of responses that come up all at one time. And so that can make kids feel a little bit more comfortable, like hidden in the group, right? They're not sharing something out. This is also a nice strategy if you're asking very direct factual-based questions where there's only really one answer, but you want everybody to participate. If you ask the kids, like, what year did Columbus, discover Hispaniola? Well, there's only one answer to that, 1492. So only one kid would respond and everybody else would just sit there. But if you say, okay, put your answer in chat and wait till I give the signal, now that's going to ramp up the engagement and the possibilities for all students to share. So next one word activity. What's one word that describes your favorite leisure activity? And again, do not hit enter until you're given the signal. One word to describe your favorite leisure activity, and do not hit enter. And hit enter now. And so go ahead and look through the list, see if anybody else is like you, has similar interests to you. Think about who you'd like to get to know better, maybe that you could share some conversation. And then the last one word, what's one word for your favorite animal? Again, just type it in the chat. Do not hit enter. And enter it now. Oh, cat dog. Excellent answer. I love it. Okay. So now take a moment to look over the different people on this list and see who has similar interests to you. Where do you see commonalities that you have with other people? And let me clear I'm going to clear the status icons. So go ahead and raise your hand if you saw someone who shared similarities with you. Raise your hand if you saw somebody that you could connect with over some common interests. So again, raise your hand by by clicking on your name and setting your status. Okay, Brooke, I see that you have your hand raised. Do you want to share with us? You can unmute your mic and share what commonalities did you see? What do you have in common with other people in this group?
Hi, well, I have hiking with you. I like to hike, even though I didn't put that down. Reading with several people, Karen and Robin. I put reading in a hammock, but I love to swim. So Sherry loves to swim. So that's quite a few commonalities.
Awesome. Yeah, so this is a nice way for people to get to know each other, even though we are separated, right? Okay, and so the next big problem that I think people worry about are students posting inappropriately. And there's some easy ways to fix that. One way is to clear the chat, and I'm going to clear our chat right now. Just that easy. And I'll show you a video here in a second to see how I did it, but you have a screenshot there that you can see. It's very easy to quickly clear the chat if you see students getting out of hand. And then you can also mute all users except the presenter. And you can lock specific viewers if you need to, and change the locks that I showed you earlier. So there's a lot of tools here that will help you be able to, so no, you can't just delete one person's post from what I've been able to tell. I don't think you can just like pick and choose. So that's another good thing to keep in mind. Like if you are keeping notes that you want to save for later, you could save your chat along the way if kids are typing in chat and there's like a part of the conversation you really want to keep, or, you know, use shared notes, because shared notes is restricted. There's a restricted access. Okay, I'm going to clear all my status icons again. And so again, if you guys have, yes, Brooke, do you have a question?
Yeah, am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're open. We can hear you.
And maybe you said this earlier and I missed it. So you're telling us all these things that we can do that Schoology is capable of, but are you showing us somewhere how to do it?
Well, right now, I'm adding the video right now to show you how to do the clear chat and the muting features.
But it'll show a share screen so we can see what buttons we have to manipulate for icons.
So I can't share my screen when I'm in conferences. I can't share my conference screen because it creates this weird infinity view that's very discombobulating. So that's why we did these little snippets of videos so you can see like my end of things as I'm working through the different tools.
All right, thank you.
So we often have problems where students don't want to respond, or students are responding inappropriately or posting inappropriately. So there's some cool tips here. So students are using chat inappropriately. I'm going to go into the public chat here. You can see we have lots of chats. I can very quickly and easily clear that out. And now they're all gone. So if students started posting something inappropriate, I can clear the chat. I can mute all my users except for presenter, just really fast. And now everybody's muted. And so if they were taught, or, you know, I heard somebody saying something that they didn't realize was getting caught, they didn't realize that the microphone was on, I can mute everybody very quickly.
You are now unmuted.
And I just want to point out that right then when I was sharing that video, we started getting a weird echo effect. I don't know if you guys noticed it at the beginning. So my mic was still on, so I had to mute my mic. And also there was another participant's mic on, and I went and muted their mic. Because if you're showing a video and kids are watching it and their mics are not muted, it's gonna like feedback, right? So that's another thing to remind students before you show a video is, hey guys, make sure that your mics are all muted, because otherwise it's gonna create a really strange sound experience.